Hey friends, welcome back to the house. We are still on remote filming location, but why not? Florida, you got to stay around for longer than just a few days. And when you're traveling, why not actually try some of the local distilleries and the spirits that they're bringing forward that Dana and I actually can't pick up in Ohio. So if you watched our last episode where we introduced Dana's brother Joel, he is definitely all into the local Floridian spirits, and we asked him, bring to us something that we have not had before, and pretty excited about this one. So what did you bring?
This is from Islamorada Distillery in Islamorada, Florida. So it's down in the Keys. If you don't kind of know where it is, the Keys are the little islands that are down off the southern tip of Florida that go from Miami all the way out to Key West, and Islamorada's kind of right in the middle, so to speak. It is the sport fishing capital of the world. There's charter fishing boats everywhere, but the way that the locals describe Islamorada is it's not a fishing town. It's a drinking town with a fishing problem. Because if you ever go there on vacation or to visit, there's pretty much just like relax, drink, fish, or eat. Like that's all there is to do.
No sleeping.
Well, yeah, I mean, when the drinking kicks in, you'll take a nap.
If you can afford to sleep there.
You can find a vacancy?
Yeah. Yes, if you can find a vacancy.
But so Islamorada Brewing Company, I've been going there for years. They make some fantastic, Florida beers. It's a must stop for me every time I go to the Keys to go and pick some up. And in December of 2017, they opened a distillery that's right next door to the brewery. And so going down there, we noticed it's like, oh, hey, now they make all this stuff. And they've released something more recently. I've had a couple of different years batches of this now. This is their Dark Barrel Aged Rum. So they make a couple of different rums, a couple of different gins, but this one is special because they are making this from 100% Black Strap molasses. And then it's going through a pot distillation instead of through their normal column distillation. And then they're putting it in a brand new charred oak barrel for a full year before they pull it back out and bottle it.
So some of those sound really familiar. So the pot still, we've talked about the difference between pot still and column stills. We've talked about the new virgin white oak barrels. That's very similar to bourbon.
Yes.
So the Black Strap is something that we've not reviewed on the channel directly. So the Black Strap molasses is basically what's left over after all of the sugar cane has been refined. You've pulled off the white sugar, brown sugar. Your typical store-bought molasses has already been pulled off, and this is everything that's like left over in the bottom. So the fact that this rum is using 100% Black Strap makes it completely different from other rums in the sense that the flavor profile is going to be different.
Yes.
So definitely not a Siesta Key.
Nope.
And that worries me. You know, I'm a rum fan, and now this is going to be completely different than what I'm accustomed to.
I've given this to people without telling them what it was. I've got a friend of mine that actually a couple friends that are huge into bourbon, and I just gave it to them without any explanation. And one of them was able to say, like, that's definitely not bourbon. The other one said, well, actually, I think his exact quote was, that's definitely not bourbon, but I don't know what it is. And the other one thought that it was some form of rye, or something like that. So this is definitely more of a rum for whiskey drinkers than it is a rum for rum drinkers, because Black Strap molasses is going to bring a lot more tartness and kind of these deeper, darker flavors in at the beginning of the process. And ironically, a lot of the sweetness that's in this one comes from the barrel aging, just like in a bourbon. Compared with your normal, you start with sugar and you make rum and it's still sweet.
So it starts off as a pretty tart product, then the aging kind of brings out more of the sugars. And the sweetness.
Yeah, and it's basically, if you think about it, so Black Strap is, when you're done making sugar, what's left over is Black Strap molasses.
Mm-hmm.
So all of the characters that you think of that exist in sugar have been removed. And all the other things that are in sugar cane, you've got some ash and acids and, things like that, are what are left behind in the Black Strap. So tons and tons of flavor, but not your typical sugar flavor. Then the same thing with the pot still, where the pot still is going to preserve, a lot of those flavor elements all the way through to the final spirit. So this really, I don't know that I would want to try this as a white dog because I feel like I probably wouldn't enjoy it. I think the aging on this is really what makes this spirit. But it's become a favorite of ours, and some friends of ours. We usually try to keep it on hand. We'll buy a couple of bottles when we're down in the Keys, because even though this is from Florida, where we live, you cannot buy this.
So not widely available in the Tampa area?
No, not widely available outside of the Keys. I think there's only a couple of liquor stores even in the Keys that carry it.
So it's not widely distributed then?
It is not.
Wow.
Islamorada is a very, very small distillery.
Yeah.
They do not have a large space. As you can imagine, land in the Keys is very expensive, so they've just made everything very compact. In fact, their column still is this cute little thing that would fit, in this space. It's a tiny little one that they run through, but they're doing some great spirits. So if you're down on vacation in the Keys, definitely stop by, have a beer, have a cocktail, buy some spirits. They do
Go
very
fishing.
Yes. Yeah, do some fishing. I mean,
Do you get to trade fish for drinks?
no, they have enough fish.
Well, ready to get into it?
Yeah.
Joel, I'll let you do
Yes.
the honors. Your bottle.
Yeah, this is a personal bottle. This wasn't purchased just for the review.
I'm just excited to get to try it. I've had one other Black Strap Rum, and it was not aged the same way, and it was pretty harsh by itself.
Yeah, I have not encountered any other distillery that is doing a Black Strap that's aged the way that this is. So this is going to have more in common with a whiskey or with a bourbon, really, than I think most rums.
I liked the bottle from the hand-dipped, real thick, marbleized looking wax on the top. That's really cool.
It looks cool, but
I know it's a pain.
it's a pain to get into.
Especially if you're wanting to try it.
Right, yeah. When you've had a few other rums one night and you decide to crack this open, it's especially frustrating.
Don't cut yourself when you cut it open.
Yes. I guess I should
Yeah,
I
smell
was
it
gonna
before.
smell it.
I was a little eager there.
The color here, again, dark, like a whiskey.
Very bourbon-y color.
Yeah, and from the barrel aging.
It's very sweet smell.
It smells like a bourbon, but not.
It's got this other thing going on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it smells like a bourbon and something else.
Yeah. One of the
It just smells all like rum to me.
One of the characteristics of barrel aging in Florida is that it happens very rapidly because it's so hot and so humid that the spirit has full access to all the wood and it works its way through all the wood pores, like a sponge. So it's not uncommon to get something this dark with so
Just
little
one
age on it,
year.
with just 1 year, yeah.
It smells really good.
Cheers.
Oh, you.
I broke the rules.
Man.
Sorry, I got excited.
We've done that several times. It's all right. The initial part is like rum, and then on the back end, it's like, whoa, what is that?
Yeah.
I was
What-
gonna
what
say
is this?
It's like a rum with the bourbon aftertaste.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
Like I usually describe this as a rum for bourbon or for whiskey drinkers. Because it has that nice sweet entry that makes everything kind of feel smooth coming in, but then it really dries up and
But it doesn't just. It actually does feel smooth.
Mhm.
So, smooth, easy drinking.
I'm still on a mind trip for how it finishes.
Yeah.
It's for my palate, it's not even like a bourbon or a whiskey. It's just an unusual taste. It's maybe not unusual is the best way to describe it, but a different taste.
Unique.
And I'm sure that's the Black Strap piece to it, but it is definitely different that I'm just not accustomed to
Yeah.
drinking.
I'm wondering if the Black Strap element contributes to that bourbon-like smokiness at all.
I would imagine that it would, based on the Black Strap being that dark byproduct from sugar production. That's more likely to survive a pot distillation, and their other rums don't have that characteristic. This is the only one that I know of that's made from 100% Black Strap. So their other rums are much smoother and more expected. This is the sort of thing that, to be honest, I haven't found a cocktail that I want to put this in
Yeah.
because it's too good on its own and it's too unique.
I'm gonna get an eye roll here, but what about a rum old fashioned?
So
Here we go.
they do that. They do that at the distillery.
Okay.
So they make an old fashioned with this rum that you can purchase
So
down there.
Have you?
Yes.
And
I think this is an awfully expensive bottle to put in an old fashioned. It's not really out of the realm of, it's not ridiculous or anything. I think it's a $50 bottle. But
Okay.
if I'm going to make an old fashioned, this is really good on its own. It doesn't have enough spice and other flavor to really compete within an old fashioned. It winds up tasting mostly just like sugary bitters.
okay.
And so that's why I said, I haven't found a cocktail that I, prefer this in. They do an old fashioned with it down there, but this doesn't stand up enough in a cocktail that it's worth the price point to then dilute it in a cocktail.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned the price because I think that's right around the upper end of the
upper
range
end.
that we focus on. So that's good. And this is 40%. I like it.
Yeah.
It's definitely a unique type of flavor, but it's not, I couldn't drink this. It's good. I may end up, depending upon how I feel, I may cut it, with some ice.
I drink it over ice
Yeah.
regularly, but again, sip it, drink it slow. It's worth enjoying.
Mm-hmm.
I like the uniqueness of it. The fact that it throws you for that mind trip of, is it a rum? Is it a bourbon? It's kind of both. And so you get all of the good elements from both of those spirits. You're not really picking up bad elements from rum, which I've had some pretty bad rums, and I've had some pretty bad bourbon. But you're getting the best elements of both, I feel
Yeah.
like.
And it to me, it seems like something uniquely Florida because of our sugarcane production, because of the rapid aging, that you get, and because it walks that rum whiskey line rather well. So,
Do you know if they do like some of the other Florida distilleries where they primarily focus on the products coming from the state?
I know several that do.
Yeah.
In terms of rum production, all of the rum producers that I can think of off the top of my head, I believe prioritize cane sugar from Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are a few distilleries that I've had that are doing Florida bourbons from Florida corn.
Yep. That's what we've seen too.
Right.
Okay.
So this is batch number 23. So not too many batches of this. Bottle number 122.
Right. Not too many batches until you realize, they are a very small distillery.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a product that I think has only been on the market for 2 or 3 years. The distillery only opened in 2017.
Right.
In late 2017, December actually. So,
Okay.
So this hasn't been on the market very long. So, but it is something that they're very, very proud of it. They're producing, enough of it that every time that I've been to the distillery, they've had it in stock. So they're controlling the stock by limiting the distribution,
Mhm.
but it is available if you can get yourself to Islamorada.
I think this is something that they should be proud of. This
Yes.
is delicious. I like that it's uniquely Florida. I like the story and the brief history. It does beg the question, though, on if they're going to convert a houseboat into a rickhouse. And then you get that
God.
rocking motion on the
Oh
barrels.
gosh. Then they can name them after hurricanes. This one was rocked gently by David. This one was whipped all the way upside down and recovered from the bottom of the ocean.
That would be very Floridian.
Well, if you're watching, you're welcome. Take the idea and run.
Well, thank you very much
You're
for
welcome.
bringing
Thank
this
you.
to us. It's delicious. Until next episode, thanks again. Stay safe, take care. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Cheers.